Hey everyone! I'm trying to adjust my camera, so one sec. There we go. Sorry about that. So this video will be about this book that I just got today. I read it today. I'm gonna tell you what I like, what I don't like about it. I'm trying not to put my personal opinion on the plot itself. So if you like these kind of books more than I would, then don't take this personally. This is my personal opinion and thoughts about this book. And this is just to let people know little quirks that are more general about the book that shouldn't really affect the plot itself, I guess, if that makes sense. So, this is called From the Darkness. It's by LaFrance. Probably am butchering the author's name, as I am horrible at pronouncing names, but this is it. I believe this one was like $4 or $5 free shipping from Amazon Prime. Is it the back? Now, one of the first things that I noticed about this book that kind of really bothered me was the fact that there are no page numbers throughout this book. So if you look at this book right here, not the book I'm talking about, but the pages are all numbered. And I don't know why, but I really like having that in a book. Like, I can be like to myself mentally, I stopped at this page if my bookmark falls out. But this book itself does not have numbers at all throughout the book at all. And that really bothers me. Really bothers me. Like, I can't tell you how much that it bothers me. That really affects my opinion of the book. The book itself has a decent plot and a decent story. And what I struggle with this book is that I think of myself sometimes when I'm reading a book as like the character, like the main character, like the girl that falls in love with these guys, because there's two guys that she falls in love with in this one, and they want to be in like a relationship with her together, so it's like brother husbands almost, if you think of it that way. And so things that they do and the way that they act, I wouldn't accept in a relationship, I guess, so that it kind of affects my opinion on the book. It's really well written, and what you'll notice within the first, I think it's like a few pages, the grammar errors and like this particular sentence, although we will be making significantly, sorry, it should say less, but it says the word yes instead. So, I am so glad we were able to line up part-time jobs, although we'll be making significantly yes. We won't have to worry of finishing a shift alive. So, that really bothered me with that. Literally, chapter 1, first page, there was a error like that. Which is to be expected in a lot of books, and I'm sure if you look at even the most well thought out, even the most famous books, I'm sure there are grammar errors and spelling errors and stuff like that, but that it says yes instead of less just really bothers me, like, a lot. It really affects how I view the book, too. But overall, it's a really good book. If you like, 2 men, 1 woman romances, this is a motorcycle club book. So, and it's one of those, like, hardcore motorcycle club books. So they have those club women that sleep with every member of the club. And the 2 characters, even at the beginning, even after they show interest in the girl, still fool around with the other girls until they make the decision, hey, we want to show her we are interested in her. We probably shouldn't do this anymore. So if that would affect you, which it normally would mean, because I don't approve of that in like actual relationships, unless you're into that, teach their own. But that kind of affected my opinion of like the storyline, I guess you could say. I wasn't a huge fan of that, and I wasn't a huge fan of how they dealt with certain situations either, which I know it's probably realistic considering like the one is the president of the club, and I completely, even though I just read this, I completely forgot what the other one is in the club. But I know that they have that, like, the club comes first with motorcycle clubs and little things like that, but I just don't like how they handled certain situations inside the club that affected the relationship with the girl, if that makes sense. Which I'm trying not to reveal too many spoilers in this, so I'm trying to be a little more discreet on how I talk about the books from now on, so that you can read the book. But I'm just telling you that I personally don't like the way that they handled certain things, and that they could have, even, they kind of say that themselves, the characters do, in the book, that they could have handled it differently, and that it would have been better off for the characters if they would have handled the situations differently in the book. So, I mean, it does have the typical HEA, happily ever after ending, which I like in books, which is surprising because in horror movies I do not like happily ever afters. I like it in horror movies when the ending is not like oh, everything's good and everything's fine. But in romance books I typically like the happily ever after. It's probably because I don't really have that in my personal life, so in a relationship wise had that yet, so that may be why. But sorry, my dog bumped the camera this time. But I know I personally like that. I can't guarantee that there's no cheating in this book because it really depends on your definition of cheating. Like, they weren't technically in a relationship with her when they were fooling around with other women, but they had already met her and already had wanted to be in a relationship with her when they still fooled around with other women. So that is something to think about as well if you're interested in reading this book. I would really have to think about this more, and if someone really wanted my opinion, I would go on and talk about it a little more and give you a little more in-depth view of a actual review, because I usually rate them at least out of 10 or out of 100, like 100%. But this one I'm not going to, just because I have so many conflicting thoughts about the plot itself. And just like I said with the whole, they already had wanted a relationship with her and they were still fooling around with other women. It is a shorter book. It took me, I got them, like I said, I got them today. I finished it today. I was doing other things between, like little chores here and there, so it is a book that if you dedicate yourself to it, could finish it within a day. So it is a shorter read, and it is easy to read. I just, like the page numbers, the grammar errors are the two big things for me. I normally wouldn't pick it out because of how short it is, so, but if you like shorter books and you like the 2 men, 1 woman romances, this would be a good one for you, especially if you like the motorcycle club scenes and stuff like that. But the little things that I mentioned that kind of bother me, just because it would bother me in real life personally, shouldn't affect on whether or not you should actually read the book. Because, like I said, it is easy to read, it has a nice plot, a nice storyline. I liked it, but, and I think it's because, like I said, I just don't see the little quirks here and there that are in the storyline itself, just because I don't like them personally in real life. Well, another thing before I get off real quick about what bothered me in the book is that I swear I read this chapter twice. I don't remember what chapter it was, but so at each top of the chapter there's the 3 main characters, the 2 men, the 1 woman, and they have their name at the top of the chapter, and it says whose point of view that you're going to be reading it in. And in one of the chapters, I might have to reread it again, but I swear it said the girl's name, but it was from the guy's point of view, and that really bothered me, because usually if it says the girl's name, it's from her point of view. So that's something also to keep in mind. And if you read it and I just misread everything when I was reading it, maybe that's it. But let me know if you guys read this book and what you guys think about it. And like I said, it's a romance book. It's a motorcycle club romance book, so it has that pizzazz for those people that like those type of books. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and liked and commented on our videos. And if you have a book that you want to read but aren't sure if you would like me to adventure out and read it to see the different things that I can see in it that might bother me personally, that maybe you would be bothered by also, please let me know. Thank you.